Welcome to Caseback Watches, my name is Tim, and in this episode I'd like to answer your questions. The questions you put under the last video about the EDA versus generic movements. Thank you very much for your participation, and without any further ado, let's begin. Raven She wants to know, why are watches across the brand mainly restricted to the same few colors, red, black, blue, white? Hardly ever see a yellow, green or purple watch these days. I think it's supply and demand. I think it's the same reason why you don't see yellow suits, for example, or purple suits, because most people find this awkward or hippie-esque and they don't want to buy it. And I think the industry realizes that, and so the probability that somebody buys a black or blue or red dial is way higher than yellow and purple. Next question comes from a gentleman with a complicated name, Shaharia Sheikh. And he wants to know, modern automatic mechanical watches and magnetism. Do we need to buy anti-magnetic ones? Are our watches at risk from our electronic devices if we don't buy watches with anti-magnetic properties in them? The info online seems to be mixed on this, but everyone says keep your watch away from speakers and other magnets. Should we just take off our watches when working at the computer? I think this entire magnetizing thing is completely out of proportion. I mean, of course, if you put your watch on top of a strong magnet, this will affect the performance of the watch. But I'm under the impression that this is more an industry thing. Somebody invented the demagnetizer for watches. Then you have a few YouTubers who recommend those things, and of course with an Amazon affiliate link in the video description. And this, I think, is the main reason for this. People want to sell you something, but if you act normal in a normal environment and there's the speaker and here's the watch, I think there's not a problem with demagnetizing or magnetic forces at all. Okay, next question comes from Silver Horse. Which watches, in your opinion, are undervalued? For example, for the movement inside and the quality, and which watches you would expect them to be being sold at a higher price than they actually are? A lot of examples. I mean, take Maurice Lacroix, it's a massacre. I mean, you can buy them for 30 to 40% of the price. But if you really want to find out that, you could use Google Trends for example. You could type in the watch brands you like, or watch brands which have a good tone, good sound, like let's Breitling, for example, and then you can see if they're trending or not, and then you can compare them with other watch brands, and then you can see where the money goes. And so I think this is a strong indicator if you want to find watches under their value. Next question comes from Wayne Cool Kid. Now that the SKX line is officially discontinued, do you think their value will go up since it has becoming a somewhat limited edition? Oh, I don't know if this is limited, to be frank. I mean, they are a mass market product. I mean, how many are out there? 100,000, 200,000, millions? I don't know. But I think in that region, and so I hardly doubt that this will be a somewhat limited edition and value go up. Which value? Excuse me, if you like your SKX, but they are affordable watches and they're well made, they're robust, they will survive 20 to 30 years, I guess. And so they're not getting rare soon. And so I think no, the answer is no. Next question comes from Seriuya. Oh, I'm very sorry, don't know how to pronounce that. Could you please share what happened to your Crombie Overcoat project? Yes, of course I can. I finished it, I think, 1 year ago, 1.5 years. It's way too warm for our climate here, so I wear the coat, let's say, 10 times a year, but I'm very proud of it because it turned out nicely, and it was somewhat an improvisation because I did it without a real pattern. And the role model for this coat was an RAF coat from the 30s. And so this was very hard work, and I'm proud to present you now in this image the Tim's Crombie Overcoat. Ryan Wiggins wants to know, what are your thoughts on Seiko? With an increased offering of smaller sizes, vintage-inspired looks, and higher prices, do you see positive evolution for the brand? To be frank, I don't think that Seiko needs an evolution because it's a great brand. It's one of the grand watch brands in the world. I mean, they offer for everybody something, and so I think there's still a little bit room for evolution. But they are very strong now. They're in a very good position. I mean, nearly every watch guy owns a Seiko. I have my Seiko 5 and I absolutely love it. I see Ryan has two questions. Which one watch is captivating you most these days? Do you have a current grail piece? Not exactly, but every autumn I want something golden. I want solid gold on the wrist. Don't know what kind of. I don't want that fat Rolex with a golden bracelet. I want something smaller, but with substantial amount of gold in the case, if you can read me. By the way, I'm wearing, again, the Doobie and Schaldenbrand Diplomat is in service again. Next question comes from Heiko Wallauer. Have you ever did or ever thought about doing solo guitar performances, like for an audience, like the guitar clips you saw on this channel, with a backing track or a looper? No, but you know what? Big announcement here, I've quit the band. And so people could think that this is the next step, playing with a looper or backing track. But the answer is no. I've quit the band a few weeks ago because, you know what, I need a break. I need a break. I wasn't so happy with the music anymore because the band develops itself more in direction of more progressive gypsy jazz, and I'm a Django Reinhardt player, I think. I'm absolutely not happy with contemporary modern jazz. And so I quit, and I was out of time. I was absolutely out of time. I had to make the decision to cancel something in my life. And so this means tailoring, or learning other new skills, or playing the music I love, or spending time with my family, or YouTube. This would be another decision I could make, quitting YouTube in favor of the band. And so I told them 3 or 4 weeks ago, guys, I have to quit. I have to quit. I need a break. I was 8 years with that band. We played hundreds of shows. And so I think now it's time to move on and do something absolutely fresh. I will produce more music for Caseback watches. I study now some material I'd like to learn for myself. And I need a, let's say, 1 year break from stage. And then maybe I could join another band, a smaller ensemble, not that quintet stuff anymore. But right now I need a break. And this worked out right now. I'm playing more guitar than in the last, I think, 5 years now, because I can do it without any pressure. I can do it just like I want. And so I really enjoy this. And so thank you, Heiko, for that question. Gave me the opportunity to make this announcement. No more Duke and Dukies for Tim. Askit89, 2 questions. First one, if you had to keep only one watch from your collection for the rest of your life, which watch would that be and why? I think my choice would be my 1980s Datejust. This is the answer. This is exactly the answer. Good answer, man. It's the same for me. I would keep my Datejust from the 80s because perfect watch, perfect size, perfect features, perfect quality, perfect value and everything. And yeah, this would be the answer. Absolutely. Rolex, Rolex, Rolex. Okay, next question from Askit89. His second question. Does your better half share some of your passion for watches and maybe even has a nice timepiece herself? No, she doesn't share this at all, I think. I mean, women and watches, this is a topic for itself. But she owns a watch. I've gave her as a gift for a birthday Oris pointed date with a golden bezel, 36 millimeters. So it's a man's watch. And rather big for a woman, but it fits stylistically. She has a dark complexion, and with this gold bezel looks pretty good. I will edit in here an image, and then you can see how it looks like. Mike Riordan wants to know, why don't all watches have screw-down crowns? There seems to be no advantage to pull-push crowns. Is it really that costly to produce a screw-down crown instead? Because I feel that we consumers would gladly pay marginally more for a superior crown, and therefore what a resistance. There were a lot of answers under that comment, and people said it's not necessary for water resistance. See, for example, you can manage it with a normal crown, and many people didn't feel comfortable with a screw-down crown when you have a dressier piece. I mean, imagine the Doobie Diplomatic with a screw-down crown. Oh no, absolutely not, absolutely not. And so I think, yeah, for me as well, it's not so necessary. I like screw-down crowns on divers and robust watches. And the big exception is the Datejust. In fact, the Rolex Datejust with the screw-down crown, there it fits. I can explain it entirely, but for me that fits, but for most other watches not. And so I think this is the answer, not necessary. Next question comes from Tim, another Tim, it's not me. You're a serious musician, statement, thanks. How about some Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones or Cream in the mix now and then? Answer is no. I can hear Cream, but I do not enjoy playing that style so much, to be frank. I'm a bit radical. I want to follow the grand Django Reinhardt. Kamin Schornstein, this is German for chimney, wants to know, as a musician, you have ever noticed that some watches do not just tick, but also resonate in a specific pitch? I have heard that with Rolex watches, but also with a Stover Flieger. There's this very distinct ding, 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 different pitch for different type of watch. Could this be even used to identify fake watches? I tried to Google this, but could not find anything. Ever come across this? Yes, of course. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear it with every Rolex, this ding, 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 and an old Omega sounds something like dink, 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 dink. Very distinctive, but a bit chaotic, because you can then have two Omegas from the same period, same model, and they sound different. I don't know why. Maybe a small difference in lubrication or something like that. And so I think it's an interesting phenomenon, but it's not precise enough. Next question comes from Steve Fox, and he wants to know, the single direction winder on my 7750, this is a Valjoux movement, feels like it takes plenty of energy from me, which leads me to the question, which is definitely more efficient, bi-directional or single direction automatic winders, as both have their advantages? Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes with an old Valjoux you are like this with the movement on the wrist, and I clearly see this as, yeah, this is all technology, to be frank. I really am the impression, or I think, this is not backed by professional knowledge, I only think this, that bidirectional or bidirectional is more efficient, and this old rotor thing only in one direction is like a bumper. It's old technology, but it still works. I mean, the bumper works as well, very fine. I had an Omega from 1947 with a bumper movement, worked absolutely fine. Rek wants to know, Rek Natarayan, oh, I don't know how to pronounce this, sorry. I don't see you covering skeleton watches at all. I even did a search on your channel for the word skeleton and almost nothing came up. Why is this? I like dials. This is the only reason. I really like dials. I really like different dials and this nice shiny look. And this skeleton thing, the entire concept of skeletons, is, in my eyes, a little bit overly dramatic, to be frank. I mean, of course, they want to expose the movement, but I like to see the movement from the other side. And so it's simply not my taste. I'm not excited by skeleton watches, and that's the reason. Jim White wants to know, what brand of guitar do you play? This is a Luca Milani. This was a guitar maker from, or is a guitar maker from Italy. Worked in Greece, I think, and he built only a few of this Salmas type instruments. And this is a trend amongst swing guitar players or gypsy jazz guitar players, that you buy something custom made or handmade from a single individual and not necessarily from a big company. Downside, of course, is that it's rather expensive and you cannot replace your guitar so good, so you have to stick to your guitar. And I think I will play this, for my entire life. Joseph A. De Sala, oh, sorry. In the beginning, when you were building and tailoring your own wardrobe, which garment has been your favorite project that you've completed so far? And what is your favorite fabric to choose depending on cold and hot weather when creating waistcoats, for example? My favorite garments are, let's say, robust street suits, vintage-inspired street suits. For example, this is the waistcoat or trousers of a 20 inspired traveling suit. Patch pockets with buttons and this very high waistcoat. This is to feel cozy and warm on the train when some guy opens the window, for example. And those suits are always with thick fabrics, which creates a problem. And that's why, to answer the second part of your question, that's why I prefer blends. I don't want pure wool, 100% wool on me. And so, for example, this is a blend of cotton and wool. And so it keeps you warm, but it's not super warm and not that heavy, and it protects you against wind. And for the hot seasons, for the summer, I like, let's say, linen and wool, for example. It's not super hot because of the linen, and it's not super wrinkly because of the wool. And so it's a great blend. And so if you want to buy something custom-made, tailor-made, then check out if your tailor has some blends to offer, because they combine the best of two worlds. so to speak. And so this sometimes is a really good opportunity to wear something substantial without killing yourself by heat. Yashar wants to know, honestly, why don't you have an AC? Need clear answer. I've answered this before. This is Germany. Nobody has an AC in a private home. You find them in shopping malls and supermarkets and cinemas and everything and everywhere. But private home with AC, no. And you don't need it. You have those mortal 4 weeks in the summer, but the rest of the year it's rather chilly, and so you don't need an AC. Kuddlesworth NA wants to know, what would you consider a Poljot 3133 movement? Russian movement, and yeah, I like it. It's robust, it's affordable, it's nice to look at because it's a really big thing. And I had one in a Junkers watch. The Americans would say Junkers, and that's the reason why they don't like that brand. But I had it in a Junkers and it performed fine, was nice to look at, was robust, performed good. And so yeah, I'm absolutely happy with that Poljot movement. William Miller has an interesting question. What do the letters ETA stand for? And please don't say estimated time of arrival. Yeah, anybody knows? I think not, because the internet is pretty empty. But a very well-known viewer of the channel, ID Klein, wrote an email to EDA and asked them what's about that name. What does it mean? And they answer in German. Strange. He's an American, they answer in German, but I can read German, and so I can inform you that it means, or it comes from Eterna Werke. Eterna Werke was an older company, the predecessor of EDA, and Werke means something like manufacturer, Eterna manufacturer, and they took the E, the T, and the A for ETA, so it comes from Eterna. Thank you, ID Klein, by the way. This was very helpful. Next question comes from Daryl Clark. Whose body do you keep in the little casket behind your right shoulder? Yeah, well, I think Tristano was in it a couple of weeks during his absence. Excuse me, but no, it was made for guitars, electric guitars, and it contains no papers and I think an old bottle of red wine. Okay, 2 more questions we have here. Treetop Flyer wants to know, I'm getting back into guitar after almost 30 years of not playing and I'm starting from scratch. By the way, I sucked 30 years ago. Is it possible for a guy like me to actually achieve a reasonable level of skill? The answer is yes, of course, why not? I mean, I don't know how old you are, but if you feel physically in order, if you think you're physically capable to do it, and of course you can do it, but you have to realize that you have to train like sports or like every art. I mean, when I started gypsy jazz, I played for 2 or 3 years, 20 to 30 hours a week, and you have to realize what this means, right? You have to include it in your life. That will be the price. But to answer your question again, yes, it's possible. It's possible. Will take time, will take work, effort, everything you can offer, but it's possible. Okay, next question, last question is about leather. Some people wrote me via email and excuse me, Instagram, if I could make some more leather items for the channel available. I've done that little wallet. I've produced 20 and I received about 60 to 70 inquiries, 60 to 70 people who wanted to buy that wallet. So there is a demand for it, absolutely crazy. And I really like to work with leather, but I'm not a manufacturer. I don't want to work every day with leather, to be frank. But if you want to learn that, you have to do it. And I don't need 6 wallets, and I don't need more Diesel Punk executive bags, because it happens to be that a well-made leather product, hand-stitched, is important, will last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. The Diesel Punk executive bag will outlive me with ease, and so I don't need so many items. And so it's good that other people are encouraging me to produce more. And the idea now is to make, let's say, 2 other mini series, but I don't want to make the old wallet again. This no, let's step further here. And so I make something different. This is the, if you will, so the next wallet. This is a very classic wallet for gentlemen. This is box calf leather, Italian box calf leather, hand stitched, and this is brand new. I've made this, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I will test it now for several months because I want to be absolutely sure that this thing is a really good product. really good product. And I'm confident because I've made this with the traditional tools and methods. And you cannot destroy a product like that with normal use. You cannot destroy it by unnormal use. Absolutely not. Impossible. You can destroy it with a blade, acid, by losing it, but not with, brute force. I think you could run over it with your car and it would survive that. And so I want to make this in mini series available for the channel, but not now. As I said, I want to test it, and so let's say next year, okay? It will be pricey, by the way. It will be pricey. There are some hours work in that, and I want to improve the handling a little bit, and so I want to deliver this with a proper warranty. I mean, in Germany 2 years are normal, but I want to give 3. And I could give 5 because, again, you cannot destroy it. And so this would be a dream to sell it and be absolutely confident that nothing can go wrong. This is then satisfying. And so this is the idea for next year, but I will present you this in more detail in one of the next videos. And if you like videos like that, then please consider subscribing. It's super helpful for me, it's encouraging. And don't forget to hit the bell because the YouTube algorithm doesn't like content around watches. You think we are super narrow-minded and we want 100% nerd talk about watches, but that's not the truth, I think. And so hit the bell, and if you want to see more shots I find interesting, then please join me on Instagram, it's Caseback_Tim. And now let me thank you very much for your attention, and maybe until next time.